If you're new here, welcome. I am lulling Lisa, hoping to lull you into a state of relaxation, entertainment, or sleep through ASMR. So, today's video, as you might be able to tell from the title, is I'm going to be taking a test with you. If you would like to join in and take this test as well, I'm going to link it in the description box. You can take it while I'm going through each question, so we can technically take it together, and then you can share your answer with me. But this was requested a few times on my channel over the last few months, and then it was requested very recently. So then I said, okay, I have to do this. So I'm going to be taking the Myers-Briggs personality test, which is essentially the 16 personalities test. It is the NERIS type test, I hope. So I'm getting this from this site called 16personalities.com. I think I've taken a Myers-Briggs test before. I'll know when I see the answer. But I love personality tests, and I feel like you all do as well. So I thought this would be a good way of having you get to know me as well. And since this was requested, maybe you're interested. So I hope that this is the right test you had in mind. But if I'm doing the wrong test, feel free to let me know or request other tests that you would like me to take. So this says essentially to be yourself and answer honestly to find out your personality type. Learn how your personality type influences many areas of your life and grow into the person you want to be with your optional premium profile, which I won't do, but so from what I can see, I'll tell you what it says. They ask you a question and then it says agree, disagree, and then there's a few little spots in between, so it seems to be on a scale of 7. So strongly agree would be 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, disagree, let's say like that. So I'm going to be reading off my phone, just marking off agree, disagree, but I'm going to be sharing my answers with you as I go along. So this is probably going to be very revealing, but we're all friends here, right? Okay, let's get started. And like I said, feel free to follow along with me or let me know if you've taken this test. So let's just hop right in. The first question, I don't know how many questions there are. We'll see. The first question, you regularly make new friends. Agree, disagree. Go with the scale, so let's see. You regularly make new friends. Disagree, but how much do I disagree? Ooh. I'm gonna say like the third line of disagree. I'll just show you what I did here quickly. Can you see my answer? So the middle would have been neutral, but I think I'm just slightly disagreeing. I don't regularly make new friends, except for you all. And that's the truth. Okay, next question. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. I wouldn't say a lot, but I'm a very curious person, so even if I'm reading and I come to a word in the book that I don't know, I'll usually look it up. Random topics that pique your interest. I would say I agree, but maybe not fully agree. I don't spend a lot of my free time, but I would say, I don't know, not neutral. Maybe the second agree. So it's like agree, 1, 2, 3, disagree, 1, 2, 3, neutral. Okay, so I did the second one. Next, seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. Yeah, duh. Strongly agree. Only because when I'm with, it's not always the case of course, but when I'm with my sisters, if one of them cries or one sister's crying, I'll just start crying even if I have no feelings towards that particular sentiment, but I'll just cry, you know? Or like seeing someone on TV crying, getting emotional. If it's like a reality sweet moment, I'll cry. Going to a funeral, even if I've never met the person, seeing everyone cry, I'll cry too. Sometimes it's embarrassing because you can be at like a funeral and you don't know the person and you're crying and you're like, I don't want to show that I'm crying. These people might be like, who are you? I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but definitely agree. Okay. Next, you often make a backup plan for a backup plan. See, I did this test before ages ago, I think, but sometimes I feel like every time I do a personality test and I do it again, usually my answer changes. So maybe I didn't understand this at the time, but I understand it now. You make a backup plan. Yes, because lately, definitely agree. My fiance, my sisters, everyone, sometimes we make fun of each other because I'll say, okay, this is what you have to do. If this person says this, you have to do this. And if that goes wrong, you have to do this. I always have like a plan in my head of all the scenarios that can go wrong and what I can do instead. So in that way, I strongly agree. Next question. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. Okay. I think I do because I have two sisters, an older sister and a younger sister, and out of them both, I am the most cool under pressure. So for example, one time my sister, she was with our dog, our family dog at the time, and I think she made him fall, and he was the sweetest dog, and she made him fall, and I think his little nose was bleeding a bit, and my sister just cries, and she hands me the dog, and she doesn't say anything, she literally leaves. Because I'm the most cool under pressure, so I took the dog, and I was just comforting him, consoling him. I put a little ice on his nose, a little ice pack, and I cleaned up his nose, and he was fine. But she just can't handle pressure, so yeah, I stay calm. I wonder how much I would agree under a lot of pressure. I mean, everybody has a breaking point. I'm gonna do the second agree. Okay, I think that's good. Almost strongly agree, but agree. Okay. Next, at social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. Who remembers what socializing is like? I'm going to do the third agree, so not the strongest, second. The third strongest, close to being neutral. I would say that's kind of true as sort of an, believe it or not, I'm a little bit of an introvert, so as an introvert it feels uncomfortable to introduce yourself to someone, especially because the idea of them, who knows, asking you strange questions or something like maybe scares me. I don't know. Next, you prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. Yeah, that's true. I think that is true. You prefer to completely finish one project before. See, it's so hard because sometimes I'm like, do I really know myself? Is this so true or is it kind of true? When I'm editing my videos, it's not like I can have a bunch of things on the go. When I'm reading a book, it's not like I can read a bunch of books. I have to finish a book completely and then start. I would say I agree. The second agree, I would say. The third, it would be too close to neutral. I'd say I'm more swaying towards that side, so second agree. Okay. Next question. You are very sentimental. Yes, agree strongly. That goes without saying. I can't throw things away because I'm such a sentimental hoarder. It's so hard to throw things away. Sometimes it feels so good to just get rid of the old stuff, but I definitely still have like, don't tell my fiance, but I definitely still have like love notes from people of the past. I feel bad throwing things away. I can't. Okay, that was very revealing. Next, you like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. I don't know. Schedules and lists. Sometimes I'll have notes in my phone before we get to neutral, because I like the idea of it, but do I always do it? No. So, okay. Next question. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. It depends, because if I'm very confident and knowledgeable in something, if I make a small mistake, it's like, who cares? But if it's something I'm not that confident about, maybe I will question things. I don't know. Small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. That's hard to say, because I don't ever claim to be or think that I am so knowledgeable in any one topic, which is why I'm very careful about speaking about certain things, because most of the time I can always see two sides to every story, so I always fall in the middle. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. What would I say? Disagree, maybe like the very first little tiny disagree, not the strong one, you know? Okay, so the third disagree, let's say. Next, you feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Strongly disagree. No, I'm not going to just walk up to you and talk to you. No way. Okay, next. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analysis of creative works or analyses. How do you pronounce that? Of creative works. You're not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analysis of creative works. I think I disagree. I disagree with that. I would say you're not too interested. I'm going to do the third disagree, because I love to talk about everything. Like if I'm finishing, let's say for example, a TV series, I want to talk about it. I want to go in depth about it. I don't just want to watch it and turn it off, you know? I like to critique things, so hopefully I understood that question right. Next, you are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. No. As someone who has a serious past of a few long distance relationships, I definitely would say I didn't follow my head. So, you're more inclined to follow your head than your heart. Disagree. I would say not the strongest, but like the second strongest, because I do try to be a rational, reasonable person. I don't just lead with my feelings. I do think, but second disagree for sure. Okay. Next. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of like, yeah, okay, so my fiance is very like, even my sister, they're very like, I also need sometimes fair warning to do something, but I would say I'm definitely way more spontaneous. And so sometimes if people want me to make plans ahead of time, it's hard for me. It's nice to have plans, but it's hard because I feel like, what if the day comes and I don't want to do that? I'd rather just like, hey, today, do you feel like this? You know? Sometimes I feel like my fiance and my sister, they like to plan things ahead of time, and I can't always do that. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like. Yeah, I'm gonna say the second agree, not so strong. It's nice to have some kind of a routine, but for example, if I know that I have a good window of time to, let's say, for example, my fiance today is gone. He went to a work thing, so I knew I would be alone to film. So I kind of planned that in my head a little bit, but that's something very specific and niche for the rest of my daily routine. It's just a free-for-all. Okay, next. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. I disagree. I think everyone wants to make a good impression on people, and sometimes if I feel like maybe someone doesn't like me that much, it hurts my feelings if it's for no good reason, but that you're making a good impression? I don't know. This is hard to answer. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression. Hard to say. I would say I disagree, but not the strongest, not even maybe the third strongest, so I would lightly disagree with that because I worry a little bit, you know. Okay. Next, you enjoy participating in group activities. Disagree. I hate it. Unless it's like with a specific group that I'm choosing, but when I see this word group activity, it reminds me of like school or like, I don't know, just something to organize, and I disagree. I don't enjoy participating in group activities, no. Maybe I was too harsh with my disagree. I did the strongest. Maybe I should have done the second strongest. Sometimes I enjoy it, but no, I don't know. In the school sense or something like that, I disagree. No. Also, like, a lot of people like to go, let's say, shopping with a bunch of friends. I could never do that because there's some stores that I want to take my time in, and some I'm just like in and out, and I can't be bothered to, move with everyone's schedule. I think I'd rather just like go with the flow of my own. There's a saying, beats to her own drum. I can't remember what it is, but yeah. Okay, so next. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. That's a good one. Not really, but kind of. Oh wow, okay. Sometimes it is nice because as someone who likes to, let's say, watch a movie and then talk about it after, to discuss it after, it is nice to say like, do you think this happened? No, this is the vibe that I got. Like, have you seen the movie Mother with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem? Oh my gosh. That movie is freaking crazy, like absolutely insane, and essentially you do have to come up with your own interpretation, and I kind of hated that movie but also liked it in that sense. So I mean, you like books and movies that make you, I would say I'm very neutral about that. Sometimes it drives me nuts and sometimes I enjoy it, so I think that's my first neutral. Next, your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishment. It's kind of like gift giving. Sometimes I'm happier to give a gift than to open one myself. But my happiness comes more from helping others rather than your own accomplishments. I would disagree. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. I'm going to disagree. I would say I'm going to do not the first, not the second, but the third disagree, so close to neutral, because I'm very happy to help somebody, but I also like to accomplish things and feel good about myself, so I disagree a little bit. Okay. Next, you are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. You're interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. Interesting. You're interested in so many things you find it difficult to choose what to try next. If it's food related, agree. But I mean, I don't think it's difficult to choose what to try. You just try something that you like, so disagree. Not strongly though. Not very strongly, I'm disagreeing. Okay. Did I answer correctly? You're interested in so many things, yeah. You find it difficult to choose. Oh, disagree. Oh, maybe I should have answered that. Agree. You can't go back on this test. Oh, you can. What? Oh, you can edit your answer, okay. You're interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose. Okay, so I'm going to go with neutral for that one. I am interested in a lot of things, but I don't find it difficult. So, neutral. Okay, next. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. Maybe, but I don't know. I think my dad gives me that worry because he always thinks of the worst simple scenario, and then he makes me fear, like, if I want to change my mind and do something else, he'll be like, you're changing your destiny, as if I do something and not something else, something fatal will happen, you know. So I am prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse, but not good things, just maybe random. Like, for example, I don't have that worry about my relationship. You're prone to worry that things will, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I do though. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. This is hard now. Because sometimes I fear, like, you do worry that things could take it, but that's such a vague question. I wish it had more context. Oh my gosh. Because I'm not so worrying, but I can be sometimes morbid. This is hard. This is harder than I thought. You're prone to worrying. I'm going to be neutral with that one. I can't answer that. I don't know. Okay, next. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. Yeah, definitely. Agree. Leadership roles in group settings. I would say even the most strongly agree, but it depends on the group. I think I agree. I'm definitely not, like, in a group activity for school. I wouldn't be the person to be like, okay guys, this is what we're going to do. No. I'm kind of more go with the flow, like, even with, like, I don't know, but it depends. I don't know. Okay, but I agree. Next. By the way, can you tell I'm an indecisive person? I'm so indecisive, so these tests can be hard for me. Okay, next. You are definitely not an artistic type of person. Strongly disagree. I am artistic. Okay, next. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings? No, I don't think. Yes, I would love people to be rational, but your feelings are important too. And sometimes you should trust how something makes you feel. You can't always be so rational. I'm very in the middle on that one. You think the world would be a better place? No, I'm going to be very neutral because I agree but also disagree at the same time. And I'm very neutral. Okay. Next, you prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. Yes, I prefer to do my chores before. Yes, but not so strongly agree. I would say, like, the last agree before being neutral. Yeah, I think I'm that way. Okay. Next, you enjoy watching people argue. That's tough because no, if it's somebody personal to me, I don't like it. I don't like when people are in conflict with each other. One of the worst things is watching somebody fight. I hate that, but when it comes time to, like, watch reality TV, or when it comes time to sometimes it's fun to spy on, like, if you ever see a couple out in public and they're publicly fighting, how, like, exciting is that to watch? Obviously, if it's just bickering, you know, we don't want any physical activity, no. But there's a small percentage that it's kind of exciting to watch from an outsider's perspective. But you don't want anyone to be really hurt, you know? It's just funny sometimes if someone's telling somebody off and you kind of overhear, as long as it's like an even fight and it's not, like, for example, if someone in customer service, if a customer is fighting with a worker, I don't like that. I hate that. But if it's like an evenly matched fight, it's kind of nice to watch someone, you know? So I would say, I don't know, but I don't like fights. So you enjoy watching people argue? No, because then also when it comes time to family discussions, when politics are involved, oh, I hate that. I want to cringe and leave the room because I know there's going to be so many different sides. So I'm going to say I'm neutral on that one. I would say neutral, but yeah, maybe there's a small little chance of exciting, you know, television drama or like a random couple bickering with each other. It's kind of fun. Next, you tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Yeah. How strongly do I agree? In some of these questions, it's hard to know if they're saying in an intimate environment or in a public space, because in a public space, yes, I don't want attention. That's even why I'm in fullest agree just because I want to show that that's true, but it's not like completely who I am. So, strongly agree. I mean, not strongly. Next, your mood can change very quickly. No, I would say I second disagree. Sure, anyone can be moody, but I feel like it takes me a while to get to a certain place, meaning if I'm happy, I can't quickly change my mind and be upset unless something shocking happens, but no, on an average, I am what I am. I don't think I would describe myself as being moody. No, okay. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. Sometimes. It depends. Like, if I were to be doing something I'm particularly good at and having to explain it to someone, like sometimes if I know I can just do something better myself, I'll just do it. And I'm bad at that because this is why my fiance is babied by me, because I will just do everything in the sense that the things I know I can do, I'll just do. Sometimes I always cook, for example. I wouldn't even bother asking him to cook because he wouldn't be as good as I am. And sometimes he's like, I want to help you, but I'm like, if I explain it to you, it's going to take me 5 times longer, but that's bad. That's actually really bad. So, if I can have kids one day, if I have babies one day, they say you should never do that with your babies. You should always patiently let them do things, even if they mess up. Just keep letting them. I don't know. I'm going on such a rant. I hope you don't mind. So, you lose patience. People are not as efficient as you. I very little agree with that. I'm a very patient person, but very little I agree. Next, you often end up doing things at the last possible moment. What things? This is so vague. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. I am a procrastinator. Okay, so second degree, not first, but second degree. That can be true. I think so. Okay. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. Yes, strongly agree. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. Something is happening after death, okay? I swear, there's something there. We just don't know. Our minds can't comprehend, but we're all made of energy, and energy never dies. Okay, just putting that out there. But yes, I've always been fascinated. That's why my mind is completely open to every possibility. Everything. Next, you usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Disagree. Should I do the second last or the last disagree? You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. I disagree, but not so strongly. I like company, but I do like my alone time. Ooh, that's hard. Oh gosh. I guess I disagree, but I'm just putting the baby one for now. Okay. Next, you become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. No, disagree. I would say second, disagree. Unless it's highly theoretical. I disagree with that. I would say not the strongest disagree, but the second disagree. So you become bored or lose interest. No. Okay, next. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. Yes, strongly agree. Because sometimes I think that I have too much empathy that it's like sometimes I can't function properly. If that sounds weird, one time we were at a restaurant and it was me, my sister, and her boyfriend, and we were in Rome, Italy together, and we were eating us three, and the waiter asked if it's possible to put this one random guy with us at the table. And before I could answer, even though I didn't want that, but I would feel probably bad to say no, but before I could answer, her boyfriend said no. Like, we just wanted it to be us three, you know? And he's like, no problem, no problem. So I spent the entire dinner just thinking about that guy. Like, feeling so bad, you know? Sometimes it just makes me, you know? So I can definitely empathize with anybody, even if I don't even know their experience. So yeah, strongly agree. Okay, next. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Agree. Not strongly, but second, agree. Yeah, because I'm very indecisive, so second, strongly agree with that for sure. Next, appropriate. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. If it's like a major life decision, if I, for example, break up with someone, I've never gone back with an ex, because once it's over, for me, it's over. I never second guess myself in that way, and I do trust the timing of my life, so I know that everything I've done has led me to here for a reason. So you shouldn't, but I always second guess. So I'm gonna say the second strongest disagree, because I second guess like silly choices, you know, even these questions I'm second guessing. So okay, next. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. No, no way. Disagree. Second strongest disagree. I don't need to go to a lively social event, you know, unless I'm in the mood. You enjoy going to art museums. Agree, but I would say second strongest agree, because when I went with my fiance to France, I didn't realize how much he loved art museums. And after a while, I was like, okay, I love being here. I love the experience. But after a couple hours, I'm good to go. So I did the second strongest agree. He would be the strongest agree. So that's how I know. That's the scale. Next, you often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Disagree. Strongly disagree. I can really understand other people's feelings. If you explain it to me, I got you. I'm there. Strongly disagree. Okay, next. You like to have a to-do list for each day. Disagree. Second strongest disagree. Because sometimes I will give myself something to do, but that's like once in a blue moon, so. Next, you rarely feel insecure. Disagree. Second strongest disagree. Of course I feel insecure. Who doesn't? Some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, you know, you're just so uncomfortable in your own skin sometimes, so definitely. I feel insecure. Okay, next. You avoid making phone calls. Agree. Any introvert could tell you that online ordering is the best thing to ever happen. To make a phone call and order something is like the worst situation for an introvert, so you avoid making phone calls. Agree, but I mean, it's pretty strong, but it's not the strongest. I don't go out of my way and get terrified, but second strongest. Agree. I would avoid it. Next, you often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. I would say I don't spend a lot of time, but lately in this current climate that we're in, because I can fall somewhere in the middle of things, sometimes I do try to understand the other side, because if you don't try to understand the other side and you just write them off as like, whatever, I mean, like I say, you need to surround yourself with people who feel like you and people who don't feel like you, because if you only want to surround yourself with people who think like you and feel like you, you should just join a cult. So I do spend time trying to understand views that are different from my own. So the very smallest agree, because I do, but not so much, you know? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I hope I make myself clear and you don't just think I'm losing my mind. Next. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. Disagree. Disagree in your social. So, I would say if my social circle is comprised of my family, that's why I'm not the strongest disagree, because I'm not the one to initiate plans, but sometimes like, hey, I'm bored, let's do something. But in my social circle of friends, I would be the last person to make plans, you know? So I disagree. You're often the one who contacts. No, disagree, I'm not. Next. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. I'm gonna have to go with neutral on this one. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. I'm gonna be neutral. It's very easy to fall off the wagon, you know, and it's hard to get back on track sometimes. I don't know. It depends. They're so vague. It depends. Okay. Next. You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. Yeah, I agree. Second strongest agree, because there are some situations in my life that I got myself into that I'm like, why did I do that? What was I thinking? You know, so yeah, I agree. Not so strong, but strong enough. Next. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. Disagree. Strongly disagree. Next, your emotions control you more than you control them. Agree. Number 2, agree. Not so strong, but definitely. I'm a very emotional person. Maybe my fiance would say agree for me. That I would say second. Okay, next. You take great care not to make people look bad even when it is completely their fault. Yeah, I do. I do that. Sometimes I cover up for people so that they don't take the hit, you know. I try to make people look better than they are sometimes to my own detriment, so you take great care not to people. Yeah, I would say I agree, but the smallest agree, even though maybe it's the second. Yikes. It depends on who it is. If it's someone I love, definitely, but if it's like the average Joe, I would just say I agree, you know. I don't want to make anyone look bad, but I'll do the smallest degree, but maybe it's more. Next, your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Yeah, definitely. Second, agree. Next, when someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. No, disagree. I would do the second strongest disagree, but I would not say that, no. So disagree. Next, you would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Yeah, agree. Second strongest agree. Next, you believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Disagree. Strongly disagree. No, that's all. I could just do that all day, honestly. Next, you feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. That's so hard to say, because when I'm traveling, I don't mind getting in the thick of it, but in my everyday situation, I would love an intimate, quiet place. Yikes, I'm gonna be neutral with that one. I'm trying not to be neutral, but sometimes I have to. Okay, next. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. Yeah. I would say, should I strongly agree? Sometimes I do. Sure, I missed the mark, but sometimes my sisters will always say, like, you're a psychic. How do you know to ask me these questions or how I'm feeling? So I think, okay, I strongly agree. Next, you often feel overwhelmed. Disagree, but the smallest disagree. Life can be overwhelming, especially now, but I wouldn't often say I do. Next, you complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Do I? You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know. Without skipping over any steps. I guess I'm gonna do the smallest degree for that one. I think so, but not so. I don't know. Next, you are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. You would pass along a good opportunity if you think that someone else needed it more. Neutral, because that depends. I mean, it depends on who the person is, and it depends on what that could do for me. So, neutral. Yeah, definitely neutral. Okay, next, you struggle with deadlines. I'm going to say the smallest agree. However, if I have a deadline that I have to meet, even if I procrastinate until the night before, I still do meet it. So I agree, kind of. But sometimes deadlines help me function as a person. Sometimes if I know I have this date to look forward to or to do something by, I'm going to be neutral. Again, next. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Yeah, I do. I'm going to strongly agree, even if it's not true. And I know maybe things won't always work out for me, but okay. I've done this test before and I had this result. So I know that I'm doing it. I know that I'm doing it correctly, but now I'm more introverted than before. I think I did this like pre-pandemic, and I think I was just a little bit more introverted than extroverted. Now I'm way more introverted than ever before. That's funny. Okay, so I am the mediator. INFPA. Mind. This trait determines how well we interact with our environment. It's good to know that after all this time, I'm still the same result. I'm a mediator. Okay, so it says I'm 84% introverted. Last time I was like, I think like 64 or something, so that's interesting. Next, energy. This trait shows where we direct our mental energy. So I am 70% intuitive and 30% observant. Wow, interesting. Nature. This trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions. 70% feeling, 30% thinking. Yeah, that's accurate. Okay, so nature, 70% feeling. Tactics. This trait reflects our approach to work planning and decision making. I'm 57% prospecting or prospecting and 43% judging. Interesting. Next, identity. This trait underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions. I'm 53% assertive and 47% turbulent. Wow, so I am a little bit more assertive. That's very interesting. What the heck? I'm a mediator. I want to know more about this. I remember doing this now because the funny thing is, when my fiance and I first got together, we would send each other tests sometimes to do on each other. And I think he sent me this one. They're asking me for a copy of my results, okay? Okay, so, yeah, as I was saying, so he gave me this test to do, and I was the mediator, and I think he was the debater, I think, if that is such a thing. So that's funny. Okay, anyways, let me read you about the mediator personality test. Me, in a nutshell. Okay. This says mediator personality, INFPA/INFPT. What's the difference? Introduction. Although they may seem quiet or unassuming, mediators, INFPs, have vibrant, passionate inner lives. Creative and imaginative, they happily lose themselves in daydreams, inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their minds. Wow, that's true. These personalities are known for their sensitivity. Mediators can have profound emotional responses to music, art, nature, and the people around them. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Idealistic and empathetic mediators long for deep, soulful relationships, and they feel called to help others. But because this personality type makes up such a small portion of the population, mediators may sometimes feel lonely or invisible, adrift in a world that doesn't seem to appreciate the traits that make them unique. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. J.R.R. Tolkien. Wow, I like that. Not all those who wander are lost is one of my favorite. Okay. Next, the people around them as well. Mediators are compassionate and non-judgmental, always willing to hear another person's story. When someone opens up to them or turns to them for comfort, they feel honored to listen and to be of help. For mediators, an ideal relationship of any kind is one in which both people feel comfortable sharing not just their wildest hopes and dreams, but also their secret fears and vulnerabilities. Yeah, this is so true. Empathy is among this personality type's greatest gifts, but at times it can be a liability. Didn't I just say that? Oh my gosh. The troubles of the world weigh heavily on mediators' shoulders, and these personalities can be vulnerable to internalizing other people's negative moods or mindsets. Unless they learn to set boundaries, mediators may feel overwhelmed by just how many wrongs there are that need to be set right. Speaking their truth, few things make mediators more uneasy than pretending to be someone they aren't. With their sensitivity and their commitment to authenticity, people with this personality type tend to crave opportunities for creative self-expression. It comes at no surprise then that many famous mediators are poets, writers, actors, and artists. They can't help but muse about the meaning and purpose of life, dreaming up all sorts of stories, ideas, and possibilities along the way. I've even written poems. I've dreamt about acting. There's all kinds of things I wish I could have done. Okay. And visual art was always something that I was interested in too, so interesting. Mediators have a talent for self-expression. They may reveal their innermost thoughts and secrets through metaphors and fictional characters. Anime. Through these imaginative landscapes, mediators can explore their own inner nature as well as their place in the world. While this is a beautiful trait, these personalities sometimes show a tendency to daydream and fantasize rather than take action. To avoid feeling frustrated and unfulfilled or incapable, mediators need to make sure that they take steps to turn their dreams and ideas into reality. In search of a calling, people with this personality type tend to feel directionless or stuck until they connect with a sense of purpose for their lives. For many mediators, this purpose has something to do with uplifting others and their ability to feel other people's suffering as if it were their own. While mediators want to help everyone, they need to focus their energy and efforts, otherwise they can end up exhausted. Fortunately, like flowers in the spring, mediators' creativity and idealism can bloom even after the darkest seasons. Although they know the world will never be perfect, mediators still care about making it better however they can. This quiet belief in doing the right thing may explain why these personalities so often inspire compassion, kindness, and beauty wherever they go. Mediators you may know: J.R.R. Tolkien, William Shakespeare. They even show some more. Cute. Okay, next. Strengths and weaknesses. This is long. Should I read this all to you? Do you care? Okay, let's go. Strengths and weaknesses. Empathetic. Mediators don't just care about other people in an abstract sense. These personalities can actually feel another person's emotions, from joy and elation to sorrow and regret. Because of this sensitivity, mediators tend to be thoughtful and kind-hearted, and they hate the idea of hurting anyone, even unintentionally. Yeah, that's true. Generous. Mediators rarely enjoy succeeding at other people's expense. They feel called to share the good things in their lives, give credit where it's due, and uplift the people around them. These personalities want to contribute to a world where every voice is heard and no one's needs go unmet. Open-minded. Yes. Tolerant and accepting. Mediators try not to judge anyone else's beliefs, lifestyles, or decisions. This is a personality type that prefers compassion to fault-finding, and many mediators feel empathy, even for those who have done wrong. Because they're so accepting, mediators often become confidants for their friends and loved ones, and occasionally for total strangers. Interesting. Creative. Mediators love to see things from unconventional perspectives. Few things give them more pleasure than allowing their minds all sorts of ideas and possibilities and daydreams. It's no wonder then that many mediators are drawn to creative pursuits, or that this personality type is well represented among writers and artists. Passionate when an idea or movement captures their imagination, mediators want to give their whole heart to it. People with this personality type may not always be outspoken, but that doesn't diminish their strong feelings for a cause that speaks to their beliefs and convictions. Idealistic, mediators strive to follow their conscience, even when doing the right thing isn't easy or convenient. They rarely lose sight of their desire to live a meaningful, purpose-filled life, one that helps others and leaves the world a better place. Mediator weaknesses. Okay, so those were the strengths. Let's hear the weaknesses. Unrealistic. Nothing in this world is perfect, and that can be a difficult truth for mediators to accept. People with this personality type can be hopeless romantics with rose-colored visions of what their lives should be like. This can set mediators up for disappointment when reality inevitably falls short for their dreams. Yeah. Oh yeah. Next, self-isolating. Mediators long to connect with others, but they don't always know how. Especially in new environments, mediators may be reluctant to put themselves out there in ways that would help them make new friends or become involved in a new community. As a result, people with this personality type may sometimes feel lonely or isolated. Unfocused, mediators' imaginative, introspective nature doesn't always lend itself to productivity. Many mediators get frustrated by how difficult they find it to buckle down and get things done. The problem isn't that they are incapable, rather it's that they run into problems when they become so caught up in different ideas and ideals that they fail to commit to a course of action. True. Next, emotionally vulnerable. The emotional attunement of these personalities is among their greatest strength, but unless mediators establish boundaries, they can be at risk of absorbing other people's negative moods or attitudes. Desperate to please, conflicts tend to be stressful for mediators who yearn for harmony and acceptance. When someone dislikes or disapproves of them, these personalities may become fixated on trying to clear the air and change that person's mind. That's the only thing I don't think is necessarily true. Unfortunately, mediators' desire to please others can drain their energy, eclipsing their inner wisdom and their awareness of their own needs. And lastly, self-critical. Mediators believe in their unique potential, and they desperately want to live up to it, but this can cause them to have unrealistic expectations for themselves. When mediators fail to live up to these visions, they may accuse themselves of being useless or selfish or woefully inadequate. They can do far this self-criticism can discourage mediators, leading them to give up on even their dearest dreams. Oh, maybe that's true. That's maybe true for this ASMR channel, but I'm not going to give up, I swear. Okay. Feeling self-critical right now, before going to the next section, scroll up to read your strengths and let them serve as a reminder of how much you, dear mediator, can bring to this world. Next. Okay, I was reading very fast because my battery was going to die, but now that it died, I can just relax. Next, romantic relationships. Mediators, INFPs, are dreamers and idealists, especially when it comes to romance. People with this personality type believe in the power and the beauty of true love, and they sincerely hope never to settle for anything less. True. Very true. It's fair to say then that mediators approach the world of romance with high expectations. They may have spent years daydreaming about the perfect relationship, imagining how it would feel to share their innermost selves with another person. But the reality of dating can come as something of a shock to mediators, forcing them to grapple with a challenging question. If they want to be in a relationship, will they have to compromise on their ideals? Hopeless romantics. Mediators don't just want to find a partner, they want to connect with a soulmate. Thoughtful and open-minded, these personalities are generally willing to consider going out with all sorts of people. Mediators pride themselves on their ability to look past a potential partner's superficial traits, such as appearance, social status, or possessions, and focus on deeper, more meaningful signals can come together in a relationship and make each other better and happier than they were before. Yeah. But it would be a mistake to think that mediators don't have preconceived standards for a significant other. With their active minds and imaginations, people with this personality type tend to develop and carry with them a vision of their ideal partner. A vision that may be based on a favorite fictional character, a person they once knew, or simply the stories they've told themselves about how love should look. This is so outing me. Okay. When they meet someone new, most mediators can't help but compare that person with the ideal soulmate they've envisioned. Unsurprisingly, such comparisons tend to weed out more than a few potential partners. It can be difficult, if not impossible, for a real flesh and blood person to live up to a mediator's cherished dreams. With time, many mediators come to learn that true love doesn't just magically happen. It takes compromise, understanding, and work. After all, no partner is perfect, and even the most beautiful relationships have their challenges. Fortunately, people with this personality type can find a great deal of joy in the effort it takes to strengthen a relationship. When they fall in love, mediators reveal just how much passion thrums beneath their quiet exteriors. Devoted and loyal, they nevertheless respect their partner's independence, aiming to accept their partners as they are. That said, these personalities also want to help their partners learn, grow, and pursue their goals. Mediators are always dreaming up ways to improve themselves and the world around them. And the last thing they'd want is for their partners to feel unhappy or stuck. Mediators' personalities use their compassion and insight to understand the people they care about, and they draw on their creativity to make their partner feel special. Many people with this personality type dedicate themselves to helping their partners improve their lives. While this is a noble goal, mediators must be sure to keep track of their own needs and make sure that their partners are really ready to change. Provided they do so, mediator support and devotion can make all the difference in their partner's lives. Finding what's real, mediators tend to promote harmony over disagreement. Although this lends stability to their relationships, it can also lead to problems. To avoid triggering a conflict, mediators may avoid talking openly about things that are bothering them. Instead, they might mentally fixate on the problem or try to solve it on their own. They may also focus on making their partner happy to the detriment of their own priorities and sense of self. Interesting. People with this personality type may need to remind themselves that open, honest communication is necessary in a relationship, even if it isn't always easy. In fact, such moments of candor can transform a relationship for the better. As long as they communicate openly, mediators are more than capable of staying true to themselves in a relationship and encouraging the person they care about to do the same thing. By bringing their whole hearts and minds to their relationships, mediators can find out what it truly means to love and to be loved. Very cute. Then it goes into friendships, parenthood, career paths, workplace habits, and conclusion. I didn't realize how long this was, so for you all, I will just read the conclusion so as not to bore you with everything else. But it says, conclusion, few personality types are as poetic and kind-hearted as mediators, INFPs. I should remember that. With their unique gifts, mediators can overcome all sorts of challenges and obstacles and brighten the lives of those around them in the process. Mediators' creativity, imagination, and kindness prove to be invaluable in many areas, including their own personal growth. Yet mediators can be tripped up in areas where idealism and altruism are more of a liability than an asset. When it comes to finding or keeping a partner, making friends, pursuing a meaningful career, or planning for the future, people with this personality type may need to consciously develop their weaker traits and gain new skills, even as they draw on their many strengths. The Secret Life of Mediators. What you have read so far is just an introduction. Okay, yada 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 yada. So they'll help you essentially learn more traits if you go with your premium profile, but honestly, they lot. I couldn't even read everything about workplace habits, career paths, parenthood, friendships, and all of that, because it's quite long. And I honestly don't want to bore you, but if you wanted to know, let me know. But I think I read you the best, most exciting things, like the romantic relationships and the strengths and weaknesses, so just the basic little introduction into being the mediator. INFP. So I am an INFP mediator. What are you? I need to know. I don't even know what all the other types are that you could potentially be, which is maybe a good thing because you can go into it blindly, not wanting to just cater your answers to a certain personality type. So, as I said, I've done this test before, but it was pre-pandemic, and yeah, I'm the same. I'm still a mediator, but I'm definitely more of an introvert, which makes sense. But oh my goodness, thank you so much for being here with me, and I hope that this was a fun way for you to get to know me better based on the personal questions that I answered with you all and my revealing result in the end. But please, I do want to hear from you. This was a fun test, and it's actually so revealing. So now I can sort of understand and draw examples of why I am the way I am based on my personality type, you know? This is why I'm such a hopeless romantic and I idealize things. I'm a mediator. This is why I'm very empathetic, you know? So it was very interesting. Wow, this was a lot of fun. I'm actually really glad I did this, and I love your suggestions. Sometimes I feel bad for not getting to your suggestions. Now you know why. So I will slowly try, but I think I soon am going to ask you all for certain suggestions, and then hopefully I can incorporate that into another video. But this was a lot. This was a lot to read and understand about myself, but it's so true. It's so accurate. Oh my goodness. So thank you for being here with me. I didn't feel alone. I felt very in good company while I was doing this test. So I really do appreciate your company. You are fantastic. And I love this community so much. As a raging introvert and just someone who finds it difficult to make friends, I've somehow made this community with you all, and your friendship means so much to me. So thank you for being here, and if you made it until the end, wow, congratulations. If you did, please let me know. But other than that, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for keeping me company while I did this test, and I do hope that you were relaxed, entertained, or maybe you fell asleep during this, but I hope you enjoyed doing this test with me. Please let me know your answers if you do end up doing this test. As I said, I want to know what you are. I love this. I think it's so accurate. So, yeah. Thank you. Sweet dreams. Have a very good night, and I do look forward to seeing